In the age of surveillance, where every street corner has an eye, how can someone just vanish? This is the chilling story of Liam Miller, a teenager who was captured on nearly every camera in his small town, right up until the one that mattered most. On a crisp autumn evening in the quiet town of Crestwood, 17-year-old Liam Miller was doing what teenagers do. He was hanging out with friends, grabbing a late-night bite, and just enjoying his freedom. Crestwood was the kind of place where parents didn't worry too much. It was safe, familiar, and everyone knew everyone. Liam, an honest student with a passion for photography and a bright future, was the last person anyone would expect to be at the center of a mystery. That night, Liam left a friend's house around PM. Security cameras tracked his journey perfectly. First, the gas station on Elm Street, where he bought a soda. The footage shows him smiling, exchanging a few words with the cashier. Next, he's seen walking down Main Street, a familiar silhouette under the warm glow of the streetlights. A camera on the town library captures him turning onto Oak Avenue, the route he always took home. He's on his phone, probably texting his mum he was on his way, a routine they had. Another camera, mounted on a private home, shows him just 2 blocks from his front door. He looks up, as if hearing a sound, then continues walking. That was at 10:32 p.m. and that's the last time anyone ever saw Liam Miller. The next morning, panic set in when Liam's bed was empty. His parents, initially thinking he'd stayed at a friend's without telling them, started making frantic calls. No one had seen him since he left the gathering. The police were called and a town-wide search began. Crestwood, once a symbol of safety, was now shrouded in fear. The investigation started with the digital breadcrumbs Liam left behind. Detectives meticulously pieced together his movements from the CCTV footage. They had a clear timeline, a clear path. It was a ghost hunt in broad daylight. The footage showed him walking, completely alone, with no cars passing, no one following him. It was as if he walked into a blind spot and was simply erased from existence. The final camera, the one on the corner of Oak and Maple, just a stone's throw from his house, showed nothing. The 30-second interval between when Liam should have appeared on that camera and when he didn't became the focal point of the entire investigation. What could happen in half a minute on a quiet suburban street? Investigators combed every inch of that 2-block stretch. They searched yards, garages, and even the dense woods bordering the neighborhood. Nothing. Liam's phone went straight to voicemail, its last ping recorded near his final camera sighting before it was either turned off or the battery died. The community rallied, organising search parties and plastering Liam's smiling face on flyers across the state. The question on everyone's lips was the same: abduction, or did he run away? The runaway theory didn't hold up. Liam had a stable home life, a close circle of friends, and was excited about his college applications. His bank account was untouched, his social media silent. This wasn't a planned disappearance. This was something far more sinister. The police then turned their focus to people. They interviewed every friend, every classmate, every known acquaintance. Whispers of a secret rivalry or a hidden conflict emerged, but they all led to dead ends. Was there a darker side to Liam's life that no one knew about? His digital footprint was squeaky clean, no suspicious chats, no hidden profiles. He was exactly who he appeared to be. Weeks turned into months. The hope of finding Liam alive began to fade, replaced by a desperate need for answers. The lead detective, a veteran named Officer Davis, became obsessed with the case. He rewatched the CCTV footage hundreds of times, staring at Liam's pixelated form, searching for a clue everyone had missed. He noted the way Liam looked up just before disappearing from the second to last camera's view. What did he see or hear? The community, once united in their search, began to fracture. Paranoia crept in. Neighbors started eyeing each other with suspicion. The blind spot on Oak Avenue became a local legend, a dark void in their peaceful town. Was the monster living among them? Then, 6 months after Liam vanished, a breakthrough came from an unlikely source. A local urban explorer, someone who documented abandoned buildings, was reviewing old drone footage he'd taken of the area for his channel. He'd flown his drone over Crestwood the night Liam disappeared, just for some scenic night shots. He hadn't thought anything of it until he saw the news report again and decided to re-examine his footage. And there it was, a grainy, top-down view of Oak Avenue, filmed at precisely 10:33 p.m. The footage was shaky, but it showed something the street-level cameras couldn't. A dark-coloured van, with its lights off, parked in the driveway of a house that was under renovation. It was perfectly hidden from the street by a large hedge. The drone footage captured a brief frantic struggle next to the van before two figures forced a third into the side door, and the vehicle sped away not down the main road but through the back alleyways of the neighborhood. The house under renovation belonged to a family who had moved out of state months prior, leaving it vacant. The construction crew was only there during the day. Investigators swarmed the property. It had been searched before, but only superficially. This time, they tore it apart. In the basement, hidden under a pile of discarded construction materials, they found it. A single, mud-caked sneaker. It was Liam's size and matched the pair he was wearing in the gas station footage. The van was a ghost. No license plate was visible, and its make and model were too common to trace without more information. But the discovery at the house shifted the investigation from a missing person case to a full-blown abduction and likely homicide. The focus now was on anyone with access to that vacant house. Detective Davis revisited the list of construction workers. One name stood out: a handyman who had been fired a week before Liam's disappearance for erratic behavior. His name was Mark Rendon. He had a minor criminal record, and most importantly, he lived just a few towns over but had a cousin in Crestwood. When questioned initially, he had a solid alibi. But with this new evidence, police looked closer. His alibi was provided by his cousin. When they pressed the cousin again, his story crumbled. He admitted Mark had asked him to lie. Mark had been complaining about being broke and had been talking about kidnapping for ransom. He had fixated on Crestwood, seeing it as an affluent town full of easy targets. Police tracked Mark Rendon to a neighbouring state, where he was working under a new name. When they brought him in, he was arrogant and dismissive until they showed him the drone footage. His face went pale. He confessed to everything. His plan was horribly simple. He had watched the neighborhood for days, noting the blind spots in camera coverage. He identified Liam as a potential target, seeing a well-dressed kid walking alone at night. He wasn't targeting Liam specifically, just an opportunity. That night, he parked the van in the driveway of the house he knew was empty. When Liam walked by, Mark called out to him, pretending to need help. It was the sound that had made Liam look up. When Liam approached, Mark and an accomplice, his cousin, grabbed him. The struggle was brief. They pulled him into the van and drove off. The motive was a botched ransom plot. They had planned to call Liam's family, but Liam fought back inside the van. In the ensuing panic and struggle, Mark's accomplice struck Liam, and the blow was fatal. Realizing their plan had spiraled into a homicide, they panicked. They disposed of Liam's body in a remote, undisclosed location hundreds of miles away. To this day, despite Mark's confession, Liam's body has never been found. Mark Rendon and his cousin were sentenced to life in prison, but for the town of Crestwood, the verdict brought little comfort. The illusion of safety was shattered forever. The cameras that were supposed to protect them had only documented the last moments of a young life, becoming a memorial to the boy who was seen by everyone, until he tragically wasn't. The blind spot on Oak Avenue remains a somber reminder that even in a world of constant surveillance, darkness can find a place to hide. Thank you for watching. If this story touched you, please consider subscribing for more deep dives into cases that deserve to be remembered. Stay safe out there.